Hello everyone. It's an exciting time as you are ready to launch your new Kono franchise. I know you've been learning a lot about operations and training and systems and marketing. And today we're going to help educate you about an extremely important part of your marketing plan, which is public relations. So we're going to be going over a few things today. One is, who is Fishman PR? Who are these people presenting to you, and what we do for the brand? And then give you a little bit of PR 101. What's the difference between public relations and advertising, for example? We're going to walk you through a new grand opening support program that we've launched for Kono, and we're going to walk you through our service offerings and our process and the fee that's going to be charged for the support. And then after all of that is said and done, we're going to describe and explain to you and educate you on some ways that you can extend the PR beyond your opening. So we're going to provide you with some tips for working with the local media and with social influencers. So first, let's get started with who is Fishman Public Relations. So we are the largest premier agency in the franchising space, and we generate more media coverage results for franchisors and franchisees than any other agency in the franchising space. We've been working with Kono since they launched the franchise here in the USA back in 2013. And in fact, many of you might have even heard about the brand through the PR that we achieved when they first started, because it was very new, and the only way to really get the word out on the national level and to make people like you aware was through PR. And now we're hoping to transfer that over to you at the local level. We're very experienced in what we do. We've been around for about 25 years doing PR for hundreds of franchise brands across multiple categories on both the national and local levels. So while we work with Kono and a number of different food and snack brands, we also work with fitness franchises, home service companies, B2B. Pretty much if it's franchised, we're hired on to help the brand sell franchises at the national level and also help franchisees by driving traffic into their locations at the local level. We focus mainly on traditional PR and media relations, and we also work with social media influencers. So we don't do the social media pages for the brands, but we do reach out to bloggers and other people who are influential and try to spread awareness of the brand through them and their followers. Our agency is medium-sized. We employ more than 40 trained media relations professionals, so we've really got an army of people here working on our clients' behalf, and everybody is trained strictly in the PR space, speaking with media, pitching reporters, knowing how to pitch story angles, and getting their attention. We, over the years, have built contacts and relationships with media nationally and in markets around the country. A lot of franchise owners will ask us, well, how are you going to pitch media in my market if you're based out of Chicago? But through the years, with all of the different brands we've worked with, we've developed contacts in pretty much every market. And even if we don't have contacts there, we do know how to work with reporters, and we can get the attention of anybody anywhere just by using our media relations skills and knowing how to get at them the right way. We have a huge database where we can look up and find reporters in any market at the broadcast, print, and online and target them for your opening. We were hired to generate national media coverage for Kono to build brand awareness, to benefit all of you, and we're going to show you some examples of what we've achieved and secured in terms of coverage in the next upcoming slides. But recently, we worked with Carlo and Dave and the crew at corporate to develop a PR support program that's designed specifically to help new Kono USA franchisees build awareness of their new locations in your market. And for this, we charge a $750 fee, and the fee counts toward your required grand opening spend. So it's highly recommended that you use our agency and work with us to get PR. Given the newness about Kono in the United States, people really still are getting their arms around it and don't understand it's still a very new concept. And PR is a great way to educate local consumers about the concept and the whole idea of eating snacks and pizza and desserts from a cone like yours. So what's the difference between PR and advertising? So some of you may already know the differences, but we're just going to lay out the basics here for you. Pretty much PR is that editorial exposure that you see. So anything that's not paid space. So the stories you see on the news at night or in the afternoon morning shows and things like that. When you open up your newspaper or these days read a lot of your news online and you see just educational stories that are not, they're not paid, they're reporting the news. Or maybe it's just a feature profile. Those are all in the PR bucket. And the reason that the media outlets are devoting coverage and giving you the free space is because what we're pitching them is actually interesting, compelling, or educational. People are interested in reading and hearing about new brands and new concepts like Kono, especially when it's local in their market. Media coverage also lends a tremendous amount of credibility to a brand. So think about when you open up or watch TV and you see an ad, for example, you know that that's paid. So you know that the reason that that's on there is because somebody paid that, and it's not really objective. It's not up there because it's compelling or interesting or educational. You're seeing it because somebody paid for that space. And people know that. So when they read an article, they know and they trust the information in it. Another really great benefit about PR versus advertising is that the coverage that we're getting actually lives forever. So where an ad at one point or another is going to be pulled when its time, when its paid time is over, with news, it lives forever on the internet. So you can put a Google search and stories that we secured about Kono 2-3 years ago, or even if we worked with you, if you were in existence 10 years ago, you could still find those on the internet and retool them and reuse them, post them on social media and things like that. So advertising has its own set of benefits, and it should definitely be utilized, and PR can be utilized to complement advertising, but it's different. Advertising is, as I said, promotional paid space. So it's guaranteed. When you pay for it, you know when it's going to appear, you know how it's going to look, you know where it's going to look. You have great control over the content and the timing. But again, the public knows that that's paid. It's also expensive. Some of you may not have the budgets at this point to be able to afford advertising to raise awareness for your brand. So a lot of new businesses will start to build brand awareness through PR, and then as they get larger and more successful, they could complement that through advertising. And again, the advertising has that expiration date where when the paid time is over, it goes away. And as I said, that doesn't happen when you've got traditional objective news coverage.
So before we move forward, we wanted to give you a few examples of exactly what we're striving for in terms of media results, media coverage, both at the local level, the national level, and with some of the trade publications that are targeted to the industry. So here's a couple of potential media results in local markets, a couple of publications that are describing the local openings. And the important thing to know in these openings is that we're trying to drive brand messaging. We're trying to make sure that the consumers know exactly what Kono is all about. Talking about the fresh ingredients, the concept of a snack franchise. Of course, what we also really like to incorporate in some of these openings is your voice, and that all comes back with an initial phone call that we have with you. We like to get to know you on a personal level, get to know some of your background, and we like to pitch that to the local media as well. From a national perspective, here's a couple of examples, one from CNN Money on the left, just more about Kono, the concept, and on the right, a step-by-step approach. So a couple of additional examples. This could be at the national level or even something that we could use in the local markets. And then finally, a couple of more examples just to make sure that consumers are very aware of the message and of the quality, the high quality food that Kono has for them, both locally, nationally, wherever there is a location. So now you may be asking yourself, what exactly is included in that $750 fee? And it all starts at the very beginning when we reach out to you. So like I mentioned before, we like to discuss your personal background, just how you got involved with Kono, talk about some of the local PR strategy, and then what we'll do is we'll use that information and put it a couple paragraphs about you into a corporate approved tailored press release, templated press release to announce the opening in the local market. From there, we will write pitch angles and story ideas to suit individual media outlets, and we do not leave any base uncovered. We go to radio stations, TV stations, print, online, obviously, and even some bloggers to come in and try the food for a review on their local site. Bottom line is we dig deep. This is our job. We've got trained media professionals. A lot of times some franchisees might think that they can handle all this on their own, but the bottom line is they're pretty busy around opening and they don't simply have time to reach out to the media. This is what we do here at Fishman PR. We make sure that we target every single media outlet. We make sure that you're able to get the coverage that you need, and that's how we move forward with it. So again, we go out to local TV affiliates, some morning drive radio shows, business writers, food bloggers as well. So after we distribute the press release and the story angles, we do some follow-up emails and phone pitching to these media outlets and to the reporters for some post-event coverage, for some post-opening coverage. We're with you for a period of 45 days from the opening date. We'll, of course, distribute media alerts to try to get some potential day of coverage. And one thing that we will promise you, although we can't completely guarantee media coverage, we will be there with you every step of the way. We'll coordinate interviews as needed. We'll get you media lists and provide clips when you're done or when we're done working with you. And of course, we would like to reiterate, when we do secure media coverage for you, we want you to make this your own. We want you to share it everywhere. Make it a part of who you are, a part of what your Kono is all about. Send it into emails, send it to some of your local clients, community members, and make it last forever, like Deborah alluded to before, with the strengths and reach of public relations.
Okay, so we've talked a lot throughout that. You've heard mentions of going to reporters and all kinds of media, and we wanted to let you know that in addition to traditional journalists, reporters, producers, editors, we also reach out to local bloggers and social media influencers. These people have become a really important part of the PR piece. They have a tremendous influence on the decision-making process of your customers. So you can see here a lot of brands have begun to pay influencers just to get the word out, because even one little post that they put out there about one of your new menu items or something like that, or a positive comment about an experience they had at a location, is treated like gold by their followers, and they really hold a tremendous amount of value. So we're not going to work to get those kind of high-level paid relationships with the influencers for you, but we will be reaching out to the bloggers and the local influencers and encouraging them to give your food a try, check it out, and ideally you will provide them with some free food and product, and they could try it and then write these types of posts that I've been talking about. So they're an important part of the plan. And like Mike said, we don't leave any stone unturned, so we don't want to ignore the social influencers as well as the traditional media. So this slide here just kind of shows the flow. It summarizes. Mike walked through with you a little bit about what we provide in terms of service for the $750 fee. And this puts in perspective to you kind of the sequence of events that occurs. So first we contact you for this introductory phone call. We ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your backstory, because when we go out to the business media, a lot of times they're more interested in a profile of the entrepreneur and the franchise owner. And we also then tailor a press release that's crafted for your market. So corporate office has approved the press release template, and we go ahead and adjust it and tailor it with some of those details that we learned from you. Then we go ahead and distribute the press release in your market. We can either do that manually, or you can opt to use a wire service for an additional fee, but we can do it either way, can be effective. And then after that, if you have a grand opening event, we will create a media alert that's different than a press release, and it just kind of talks about what you're doing, what time, where it's happening, and we try to get the media out there to take pictures. So that might not result in a full-on story. It might just be some quick footage or coverage in the paper through a photo. Meanwhile, as we're going out to the media and the influencers, we're going to be informing you. So Mike mentioned, and this is really important, that media coverage is never guaranteed. Like I had mentioned about the advertising, when you pay for something, you know it's going to appear. With the media, it's a long process of pitching them and following up, and sometimes they'll do the story and sometimes they won't. We need you to understand that what you're paying us for is to go out there and pitch and build those relationships, and then sometimes down the line they'll do a story after the 45-day period. Sometimes they might do it right away. Sometimes they might not do it at all, but at least you're on their radar right now. And if there is media interest, which a lot of times we found with Kono there is, just because you're so unique and different and new of a concept, if the media is interested in interviewing you, we'll set that all up. So we'll figure out what time works for both parties. Then we'll send an email to both of you and say, here's when it's happening, where it's happening, who's calling who, so that everybody's on the same page. After that, we provide you with media training. So before you get on the phone or in person or on TV or on the radio to promote the brand through PR that we've secured, we want to make sure that you've really got the messages down. So we talk with you a little bit about how to speak about the brand, how to make sure you're covering all the menu items and explaining the backstory about Kono, how it was founded. Then at the end of the 45 days, we provide you with a recap of the media coverage that we secured so that you can kind of see what was out there. We also provide you with the list of media outlets that we went out there and pitched, and the actual contact information, so that you can pick up where we left off, and you have the list. If you're introducing a new menu item or you're having some kind of event, you can go out to them on your own after the 45-day support period is over. And we provide you with the press release and our pitches as well, so that you can kind of, like I said, pick up where we left off if you so choose. Okay, so we've discussed with you everything that we provide in the way of service for the $750 fee for the 45 days. But we want to make sure you understand that that's not where PR should end for you. That's really just the beginning. We want to provide you with some education after we leave you on how you can keep it going on your own after the 45 days. So here are a few ideas and basics that Mike and I will walk through to help you. The first thing you need to know before you even start is what appeals and what is kind of a turn off to the media, because we want to make sure you know what to put out there to them and you're not wasting your time with stuff they're not going to be interested in. So what's appealing? Obviously, the new business opening, a profile of yourself. A lot of you have so many interesting backstories. You come from different walks of life. Some of you have been in the military, owned other businesses. Maybe you worked in the corporate world and you just found this really interesting and you wanted to start it up. Those are all great stories. Maybe we're going to be using more of a consumer angle, like a timely news hook for cooking, a cooking segment. National Pizza Day, Pizza Party Day, National Dessert Day, Chocolate Month. All of those things could be used as the reason why the media might want to do a TV segment and involve you now. Maybe there's a new LTO item or just a new menu item you're rolling out, and you can contact the radio stations that we have given you the contact for and ask if they're interested in having you drop off the product. And then they might mention your new menu item and where you're located on the air during their show. So those are all examples of appealing things, or maybe you just want to provide expertise. You're the owner of a brand that's really emerging and different. So maybe you can be involved in a story about emerging food trends and convenience, snacks that are portable and on the go. Maybe the top 5 trends within the quick service industry. Another thing that's really appealing is charitable events. So if you're going to be holding an event to raise money for a local charity, the media is always interested in that type of angle. Anything quirky or unique that you're doing within your business to market it, those are all really great angles too for the business media.
So obviously you need to know what's appealing, but at the same time, and almost as important, you need to know what's not appealing to the media. And Deb talked a little bit about charitable events for local causes, but it's not as simple as just writing a check to a charity without any kind of a community tie or local event. Make sure that the community or that the media knows that you're really involved with the community, that you have local ties. Give them something visual, some kind of a donation event that you can invite people to. It's not just as simple as cutting a check. Another thing too to keep in mind is that all hooks must be timely. That's how the media operates. So an event that happened 5 months ago isn't going to quite cut it. Finally, special offers and promotions, that's mostly advertising. That's a little bit different than LTOs. For special offers and promotion, you want to lay off that on the PR side. So the right approach to the media, you want to set the stage with kind of a soft introduction, not just to do a story on me or cover my event. Give them some examples, tell them who you are, explain to them why you're the expert in the local market, and then give them some visual examples of why Kono is the real deal. Always provide kind of a brief overview of Kono because it is a new brand. Definitely give them information about why it's so hot and up and coming. Don't assume that they know. Don't be afraid to follow up with the media as well. A lot of times they don't see your initial email or they might miss a voicemail. It's a very helter-skelter environment in the media. So by all means, feel free to reach out to them again, follow up. But then, of course, when you do get their attention, be flexible and accessible with the media. Make sure that you are ready for their last-minute requests because, again, very chaotic environment that the media operates in.
Okay, so Mike has just talked to you a little bit about building relationships with traditional media. So another thing is we had talked about media influencers, and those are also people that are going to be on the list that we provide you after the 45 days concludes. So I want to make clear to you that a blogger event is something that can be really strong and help you build on the momentum that we've started, but it's something that should occur after that 45-day period and something that you can simply do on your own. For lack of a timely hook, like a new opening, you can host a blogger event at any time, and it's really, really simple. So here are some tips for how to do it. I think a mommy blogger would be a really great target audience for you, and those are going to be on the list because moms are always looking for great, filling, portable, on-the-go snacks for their kids. So I guarantee you that if you were to invite a handful of mommy bloggers, their kids are going to love the cones, and they're going to go back on their blogs and write a positive post. How do you do this? How do you go about hosting a blogger event? So the first thing you want to do is invite the influencers along with their followers. So you can go to some of these mommy bloggers and say, hey, at such and such time, how would you like to come to my location of my Kono to go, or my Kono, the original Kono, and invite some of your followers along with you for a private event. We'll give you some free cones. You can bring your kids. We can show you how they're made. Bloggers love that kinds of thing. And make sure that when you're hosting the event, it's usually better to do it in the evening, because a lot of these bloggers, it's not their full-time job to blog. They kind of more do it for fun, and so they work in the day. So you might want to host it anytime like after 6 p.m. for a few hours. You can maybe even provide them with a sneak peek of a new menu item. That's a good hook to bring them in, and they can get a behind-the-scenes look at how a pizza cone is made. You always want to provide them, they like stuff. You know, with traditional media, you can't give them free items because that's considered unethical. Bloggers, it's a whole different ballgame. You could provide them with a little swag bag, you know, with some pizza cone recipes, some sauce, a gift card to Kono. Anything that they can leave with always helps leave them with a good taste in their mouth, so that you can get them a positive review posted when it's all said and done. And on the right of the screen here, we give you an example of a very simple invitation. It's just electronic. You can design it using Word and just send it to the influencers via email. This slide here just shows you an example of what a blog post would look like. We've hosted some of these for clients, and some of the franchisees have done them on their own. And this is kind of what results. They go to the location, they try the food, and they wind up writing a pretty long piece on it, a blog, and they show pictures. And it's really, really a powerful piece for the followers, and is just as important and as effective as something you would see in the traditional media. So with that, we hope you have a better understanding of what kind of services that we would provide you for the $750 fee for the 45-day period to get awareness going for your new opening, and also helped educate you a little bit about what you could do on your own after we leave to leverage what we've started for you. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to get with either David or Carlo or anybody at the corporate office, and they will put you in touch with us. We hope to hear from you soon, and congratulations on your new Kono franchise.